When they accused her of harming a patient, she lost everything. Her job, her children were going hungry, everyone called her guilty, but God had other plans. Maria didn't scream or curse. She just bowed her head and whispered, "God, you know what I did and didn't do." Maria had been a nurse for 12 years. Not the kind who worked for glory, but the kind who stayed late without pay, who held the hands of dying patients when their families couldn't come, who prayed over every person in every room. She was a single mother to 3 children. Her husband had left them 5 years earlier, and she'd been fighting ever since, fighting to keep food on the table, fighting to keep the lights on, fighting to give her kids a life that didn't feel like survival. But she never complained. Every morning at 5 a.m. she'd wake up, make breakfast for her kids, kiss their foreheads, and pray, "Lord, give me strength to serve your people today." Then everything changed on a Tuesday night. She was assigned to Mr. Harrison, an elderly man recovering from surgery. He was difficult, angry at the world, angry at God, angry at everyone trying to help him. But Maria showed him kindness anyway. She adjusted his pillows, brought him warm blankets, and made sure his pain medication was on time. At 9 p.m., she checked his 4-1 last time before her shift ended. Everything was fine. She smiled at him, said a quiet prayer, and went home to her children. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. It was the hospital. Mr. Harrison had suffered a severe reaction. They needed her to come in immediately. Her hands shook as she drove through the empty streets. Please God, let him be okay. When she arrived, the supervisor's face was stone cold. "Maria, we need to talk." They led her to an office. 3 people sat behind a desk: the hospital administrator, the head of nursing, and a lawyer. "Mr. Harrison nearly died tonight," the administrator said. "His medication was doubled." "You were the last person to touch his 4. Maria's heart stopped. "No, I checked everything. I followed protocol exactly. The cameras show you in his room at 9 p.m. The lawyer interrupted. "His chart shows double the prescribed dose was administered. But I didn't. We're terminating your employment immediately," the administrator said. "We're also reporting this to the state board. You'll likely lose your nursing license." The words hit her like bullets. Her license, her career, the only way she had to feed her children. "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "I have 3 kids. I would never hurt a patient. I've dedicated my life to helping people." But their faces didn't change. They had already decided she was guilty. Security escorted her out that night. She sat in her car in the parking lot, shaking, sobbing, her whole world crumbling around her. But then, through the tears, she whispered, "God, I don't understand this, but I trust you. You know my heart. You know my hands are clean. Please don't let this be the end." The next morning, she had to tell her children. Her oldest, Sophia, was 14, Marcus was 11, little Emma was only 7. "Mommy's not going to work for a while," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Did you get fired?" Sophia asked, her eyes wide. Maria nodded, unable to speak. "Did you do something wrong?" Marcus asked. "No, baby. I didn't, but sometimes people think you did something even when you didn't." "Then God will fix it," Emma said simply. "That's what you always tell us." Maria pulled all 3 of them close and cried, out of the mouths of children. The weeks that followed were the hardest of her life. No hospital would hire her with an investigation pending. The state board suspended her license. Word spread. Her name became associated with negligence, with harm. She applied to work at gas stations, restaurants, grocery stores. But when they Googled her name, they found the articles. "Local nurse under investigation for patient endangerment." Doors closed everywhere she turned. The bills piled up. The rent was late. The electricity was shut off for 3 days. She stood in line at the food bank with her children, fighting back tears of shame. People who knew her story whispered when she walked by. Some friends stopped calling. Her own mother said, "Maybe you made a mistake and just don't remember." Everyone doubted her. Everyone except God. Every night after her children fell asleep, Maria knelt by her bed and prayed. Not angry prayers. Not demanding prayers. Just honest ones. "Lord, I am so tired. I am so scared. But I choose to trust you. Even when I can't see the way, even when everyone thinks I'm guilty, I know you see the truth. Please reveal it. Not for my glory, but for yours." 3 months passed. She was down to her last $47. The eviction notice was on her door. Sophia had stopped smiling. Marcus got into fights at school. Emma drew pictures of their family living in a car. Maria felt like Job, everything stripped away, sitting in the ashes of her life, but still holding on to faith by her fingernails. I don't know how much longer I can do this, she whispered one night. Then her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize. Is this Maria Gonzalez? Yes. This is Detective Rodriguez with the City Police Department. I need you to come down to the station tomorrow morning. It's about your case. Her stomach dropped. Were they pressing charges now? Was it about to get even worse? She barely slept that night. The next morning, she walked into the police station, her legs trembling, her faith wavering. But when Detective Rodriguez saw her, his face wasn't harsh. It was apologetic. Miss Gonzalez, please sit down. She sat, gripping the edge of the chair. We've been investigating Mr. Harrison's case, he said. And we've discovered something important. He turned a laptop toward her. On the screen was security footage. This is from the hallway outside Mr. Harrison's room. At 9:47 p.m., 47 minutes after you left, Maria watched as a figure in scrubs entered the room. It wasn't her. It was Dr. Patel, the physician who'd been treating Mr. Harrison. Keep watching, the detective said. In the footage, Dr. Patel went to the fore, adjusted something, then quickly left. We brought Dr. Patel in for questioning, the detective continued. He confessed. He'd been stealing pain medication from the hospital. To cover his tracks, he was diluting medications. But that night he panicked. He thought he'd been caught. So he doubled Mr. Harrison's legitimate medication, hoping to cause a crisis that would distract from his theft. And he let you take the fall. Maria couldn't breathe. You were telling the truth all along, Detective Rodriguez said. I'm sorry no one believed you. The hospital has been notified. The state board is dropping all charges. Your license will be reinstated. And the hospital, well, they want to speak with you. Maria didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She did both. God, she whispered, you did it. You revealed the truth. The next day, the hospital administrator called. The same man who'd fired her now spoke with a voice full of regret. Miss Gonzalez, we made a terrible mistake. We owe you an apology that words cannot express. We'd like to offer you your position back with full back pay and a formal public apology. But Maria surprised him with her response. I forgive you, she said quietly. All of you, because I know what it's like to need grace. I'll come back, but not for the paycheck. I'll come back because those patients still need someone who cares. When she walked back into that hospital, her head held high, people stopped and stared. Some cried, some apologized. But Maria wasn't bitter. She'd learned something in that wilderness. God doesn't just prove you innocent. He restores everything the devil tried to steal. The hospital didn't just rehire her. They promoted her to head nurse. They featured her story as an example of integrity. The back pay covered all her debts. Sophia started smiling again. Marcus stopped fighting. Emma drew pictures of their family in their home with sunshine. But the greatest miracle wasn't the money or the job. It was the family who came to her one Sunday at church. Mr. Harrison's family. His daughter approached Maria with tears in her eyes. My father wants to see you, she said. He's been asking for you every day. Maria went to his home. The angry, bitter man she'd cared for looked at her with different eyes. I'm sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I'm sorry I was so cruel to you. I'm sorry you suffered. But I want you to know something, watching you through all of this. Seeing how you never gave up, how you forgave everyone, how you still had faith, you showed me God is real. I gave my life to Christ last week. Maria wept. The wilderness had never been about her. It had been about him. Here's the truth. When you're walking through fire, and everyone calls you guilty, and the whole world turns its back, God is working behind the scenes. He's not late. He's not lost. He's orchestrating a redemption so powerful that when it comes, no one will be able to deny his hand. The truth may be buried, but God will excavate it. Your name may be dragged through the mud, but God will wash it clean. Your reputation may be destroyed, but God will rebuild it stronger. Stay faithful when it hurts. Stand firm when they accuse. Trust God when you can't see the way. Because the same God who delivered Daniel from the lions, who saved Joseph from the pit, who raised Lazarus from the dead, that same God is fighting for you. Your vindication is coming. Your restoration is coming. Your testimony is being written right now. If you believe God fights for the innocent and restores what was stolen, comment, God is my defender, below. Share this with someone who's been falsely accused, someone who's lost everything, someone who needs to remember that God sees the truth even when no one else does. Your wilderness is not your ending. It's your setup for a miracle. Thanks for watching.